we have the international news. In the first article, there is Women Warriors and the War on Woke. Donald Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary wants women off the battlefield. In this article, the bottom line is the facts have been shared, the statistics have been shared, that how the women in combat and military, especially in combat and on ground, affect the performance of the overall military machinery and personnel for the worse, okay, as compared to the groups which have only men in them. And this is also a stance of Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary, whose name is Pete Hegseth. He said that women should not be on the battlefield and they should be removed, okay, and they are making us weak as United States military. So the argument revolves around it, and basically this article discusses the history of when the United States first permitted women to join military, how the other European nations allowed their militaries to admit women as soldiers, as military officers, and how positive and how negative it has impacted the militaries of different countries so far. Okay, so this is interesting if you are interested in the defense side of things and the military history, the military insights and all. There are a few general articles as well along the way, like this is one: bullying is not the same as strength. Threats and swagger can be depressingly effective but also a dangerous distraction. It basically discusses the approach of Donald Trump, how he deals with international matters with different countries, okay, and how he has just one approach to twist the other country's arm in such way that that country has no option but to obey Trump. Okay, so this particular article discusses the psychology of things behind it. After that, we have the business section, finally, for which I purchased this magazine, and this one is quite insightful. I would say that out of all the sections that I have discussed with you and I have studied in this magazine, I have found two particular sections the most interesting for me and the most insightful and informative. The one is business and the second is finance and economy. The first one, electric vehicles industry. Investment in electricity infrastructure is surging around the world. You may expect that what are these facts and figures about the whole electric vehicles industry around the globe, in United States, in various other countries, and how it's increasing, but what are the backlashes it's facing in some countries, how the investment is being gathered up for it, and so on and so forth. Second one is about Meta making friends. Will Mark Zuckerberg's Trump gamble pay off? Okay, so it is basically about how before even the Trump sworn in as the president of the United States for the second time, Zuckerberg, before that, I think just after the election, he made the Meta policy for tolerance on social media much more lenient. Zuckerberg allowed you that you can say whatever you want on the social media. Okay, before that it was not the case. As you remember, during the first term, even there were some posts that Facebook disregarded. There were some, this kind of stuff kept happening in the first term of the Trump, and even he got banned from Twitter. But then Elon Musk purchased or acquired, purchase would be the wrong term, acquired Twitter, now known as X, and now he and Trump or anyone else, especially the conservatives, can say whatever they want. How he has played this thing in a manner that Trump gets appeased from him, and Zuckerberg and his businesses may not fall in the radar of Trump. After that, we have another article: high and dry alcohol-free drinks are becoming big business. This is kind of an extension of the previous article that I discussed earlier about alcohol, and alcohol-free drinks are becoming big business. After that, we have an article on consumer tech, Southern Oscillation. America's internet giants are being outplayed in the global south. Okay, so basically it is purely about business and tech. Okay, so the argument in this article is that how the Amazon is, for example, let's get Amazon as an example. Amazon is performing outstanding in the US and the first world markets, especially Europe. Okay, but when it comes to expanding outside of the first world, especially if you talk about India, then it's getting a lot of beating here. Okay, and there are the local brands like Flipkart or and likes who are beating it. Okay, and the reason is that the Amazon is unable to understand local economy, local rules of business so far, and this is also the case for it in South America as well. Okay, in Argentina, in Brazil, in in similar countries, Amazon has not been able to claim itself the e-commerce giant that it is in throughout the world, especially as you can see, and especially in the first world. But it has not been able to claim that respect and share of the market in the third world, like India, in Vietnam, in China, or in South America. It is about that, and there are many other examples like Amazon, which have been particularly much successful in first world, but they have been failing so far in the third world. Okay, because of the reasons mentioned in these articles. We have beyond the iPhone contract. This one is on contract manufacturing. World's gadget makers are moving into new products and places. How Foxconn was initially manufacturing iPhones in China and is still manufacturing iPhones in China to a larger extent, but it is basically Foxconn is considering to expand and to move beyond China now, and to move towards Mexico, towards India, these kind of markets which have kind of manufacturing potential but not at the scale of China. And they are going to manufacture like semiconductors, like servers for America, and stuff like that, and how it is going to be much more feasible for them if they move towards Mexico or some other countries except China. The idea of spreading basically manufacturing, because for a long time and even till today, the manufacturing hub of the world is now China. Okay, has been China, but now the trend is going to change, especially since the emerge of AI. Things have been changed a lot, and all of this basically is discussed here, and how the dynamic is shifting and how it's going to benefit the bigger companies to move nearer to the United States because of the US-China trade war. There is another article named as Alloys and Allies. US Steel has few good options without a Nippon deal. Nippon Steel, which is a Japanese-based steel company, it was going to acquire US Steel, and everything was done. Nothing was illegal, but at just before acquisition of US Steel by Nippon Steel, Biden administration cancelled it. Okay, and due to which Japan is furious, especially Nippon Steel's executives management is furious, and they have basically lodged a couple of lawsuits against the US. How the things are going to change for US steel company because of cancellation of this deal, all of this thing is being discussed in here. There is a journal article after that, not belonging specifically to the business but to the workplace. It is called, the subject is the signals of workplace submissiveness. Deference is all around you, unfortunately, bottled by. Okay, so this is basically about how what are the non-verbal signs at a workplace which basically makes one person more authoritative than the another person. Okay, so all these kind of psychological aspects of workplace authority, workplace politics are slightly discussed in this article. The last article in this one is the Wolf Cubs of Wall Street. So in this article there is bit of a news that a couple of investment firms are competing with the great Goldman Sachs, and what are the statistics, how these two firms are able to compete with the Goldman Sachs, and how the share of the market is being captured by these two firms, and so on and so forth.